Welcome to Business Live. I'm Mark Croskery. In BL tonight, first up, we got securities dealer here. That's Mayberry Investments, ticker symbol MIL. Trading in shares, a sell or a sale here done by a senior manager, selling 132,583 shares done recently, September 23rd, 2020. Nothing to read into too much here, small trade, but great to see some corporate action items. Now on the other side of the coin, a connected party also, buying up some shares, roughly, 300,000 shares or so, or just a bit under that, buying up some shares in Mayberry. So in this case here, kind of a double whammy for corporate action items. Senior manager, selling some shares, or a management action item, and a connected party actually buying some shares. So good to see. Maybe, a cross trade on the market. We're not sure. They don't tell you as much information as that, but always great to see when the buy is bigger than the sell. Next up, we got Sagicor Group here, considering a second interim dividend. Typically, a lot of these bank stocks, have quarterly meetings, sometimes do as many as 4, interim dividends in line with their quarterly financials for the year. You tend to see that with NCB, Scotiabank as well. So the directors of Sagicor Group, they're scheduled to meet October 12th, 2020 to consider this. Let's see what happens there in terms of the dividend yield, projection and so forth for 2020. You got to remember, keep in the back of your mind that, it is a pandemic, it's COVID-19, that whole ECL entry or expected credit losses are going to hammer or really hurt, banks' financials or the industry overall. Speaking about financial results, Elite Diagnostics, radiology company, healthcare company, depending on how you sum it up, coming up with their audited year-end results. This is June 2020. So revenues are up nicely, but profits, faltering a little bit. Now you got to dig down into those results, just like most, financial results on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So what we're seeing here with Elite Diagnostics, the healthcare company, is that the revenue jumping to 439.8 million, just, a tad shy of 440 million Jamaican dollars versus 404.8 million Jamaican dollars the year before. Now, profits took a big dive to 8.5 million Jamaican versus 51.8 million Jamaican. But when you really, go in there, look at the results and all the line items in the income statement and the footnotes, what we're seeing is actually gross profit, despite revenue jumping, really stayed flat. But what really hit them is some entries here. Took some big hits, almost $33 million when we looked at it to depreciation and amortization. So that's probably a one-off hit. If you add that back, the profits aren't too bad. Admin expenses and other expenses, did jump a bit as well too. So kind of a double hit there, but depreciation and amortization, probably a one-off, maybe something to do with the equipment or something like that. We'll look at that some more. But the bottom line is the results aren't as bad, as, an analyst or somebody who might say, wow, this has fallen by 40 million or more. So not as bad as it seems when you just look on the face of the financials. Now, a company we very rarely ever hear from, Bahamas, coming up with an interesting corporate action item here. This is good. When you look at the top 10 list, a lot of pension funds are invested in this company, Bahamas, and so they're coming out with a notice, early redemption of their preference shares here. And these are the Series 11 preference shares by Bahamas telecom company, as the name states, not in Jamaica, but in, Bahamas. And so what the company is saying is going to exercise this option to early redeem its preference shares. These are the Series 11 shares, and the date is set for 29th of December, 2020. Last up, the big news, a company we've been speaking a lot about on Business Live, a company that's making moves, Derrimon. They just had their AGM and all of the resolutions were passed successfully. This was just the other day, September 25th. So the big news here is that the company has authorized up to issue, in terms of issuing 1.8 billion ordinary shares by way of a prospectus for the popular buzzword, or let's say the acronym APO, additional public offer. Now, we don't know what the projected share price is. If it's $1, that's 1.8 billion. If it's $2, 3.6, billion Jamaican dollars. But let's just say it's going to be a lot of money. The chairman, the CEO, the CFO, they really hinted, at their AGM of the expansion plans, things to come, things that they want to do, the warehouse that they're already in just off of Mandela Highway. So exciting stuff here. It's going to be a lot of money. Let's wait and see, what happens. I'm Mark Croskery. This is Business Live.